All right, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome once again to another workbook lesson out of A Course in Miracles. Today we're on workbook lesson 127, and again, I am your host. I am your temporary guide on this side. My name is Oliver Blue, and I am here. And these lessons are being presented once again by Truly Foundation, our nonprofit organization that are, and we're absolutely dedicated to teaching advanced spirituality. And this project that we're on by going through the 365 lessons out of A Course in Miracles. Um, it's a delightful adventure that we have wanted to do for a very, very long time. And I apologize for that. Come back. Sorry about that. Little interruption come up on my screen there. But anyway, this is a delightful project, and we're on day 127, and we thank you for being with us. And today is a very important lesson, and we turn the focus away from today we're turning the focus away from where we've been the last couple days, and we're reintroducing the theme or the topic on love. There is no love but God's. Is the thought for today, is the lesson for the day. There is no love but God. We've said in the past that love and God are synonymous. In our ancient traditional spiritual books, it says that God is love, and that love is God, and everyone that is born of God is born of love. And so, from A Course's perspective, there is no love but God's, and from God's perspective, and from the Course's perspective, there are no opposites in love. Love is synonymous not only with the word God, but with the word with the word reality. God is love. God is reality. God is, and there is nothing else. And so, as we look into today's lesson, I want to go to actually paragraph 6, where it says, "Today we take the largest single step this course requests." So this is a huge day. This is a huge lesson for us to intake. And so we want to open up ourselves to really, really receive what today's lesson is bringing to us, because it says it's the largest single step this course requests in our advance towards its established goal. And its established goal is our mind to be transformed and be renewed. Its goal is for us to engage or disengage in a thought system of the ego and engage or activate the thought system of God, or the thought system of love. And so it says today is the largest single step that is required in this course for us to advance towards that. So this subject about there is no love but God is huge, and it is very important that we understand what this lesson is saying to us and what it's all about. And so the theme here is love, and that love is God. And so if you remember back in the introduction, back in the introduction section, it says that this is a course in miracles, that it is a required course. It means it's not talking about this course specifically, but what is taught in the course is required. What we come here to learn is for all of us. We've all come here to learn. And when I say come here to learn, we all find ourselves here in time and space. And because we find ourselves here in time and space, appearing in a finite state, appearing in a limited state, appearing in the state of form, because that's where we find ourselves, or that's where we think ourselves to be. That requires us to make a shift, or to learn something, to learn that there's something to be learned while we are here, while we are in this state of being. And so it says, so we all have something to learn as being a part of this journey, or a part of this dream, or a part of this state of being. It says it is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. In other words, we can decide when we want to learn what needs to be learned. That's voluntary. But what is not voluntary is that we can choose what we have to learn, or the curriculum. It says free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you would want to take at a given time. So we can determine when we want to learn, when we want to wake up, when you want to be enlightened. It's up to you. But we know that when we're not in that pure place, that pure presence, that pure knowing, that we are engaged in that which is so much unlike our true self. So we experience what is called separation. And in separation is suffering. And in suffering, there's unhappiness, there's no joy. And so how long would one sanely, knowingly stay in a state of separation, a state of suffering, a state of pain and anguish, knowing that what they can decide otherwise, they can choose again. And so I know no other sane way to say it other than today is the day of awakening. Today is the day of what? Transformation. Today is the day of salvation. Today is the day of what? Rebirth. And so it says, this course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. That's not the course's aim, teaching the meaning of love. For that is beyond what can be taught. Love is so infinite in its scope, in its understanding, in its comprehension, that it says here that it is beyond what can be taught. It says, however, that the course does aim, however, at removing the blocks. The course does aim, however, at removing the blocks. Blocks represents anything that obscure, or anything that gets in the way, to the awareness that love is present, that love is everywhere, that love is always present. So more importantly here is having the awareness of love's presence and being taught the meaning of love. Because it is in love's presence that we experience love. And the experience of love brings the meaning of love. And so it says, love is our natural inheritance. Inheritance has to do with what has been gifted unto us, what has been legally bestowed upon us in our creation. In creation, love was bestowed upon us. All that love is a part of what we are, is what it's saying here. That's our natural inheritance. That's our natural habitat. Love's presence. David got a glimpse of this and he said, it is in thy presence, or in love's presence, there's fullness of joy and pleasures forevermore. In thy presence. And not necessarily in the present, but in the awareness of love's presence. It is the awareness or the consciousness that love is present, which is our natural inheritance. See, without the awareness of it, see, things can be present, but without the awareness of it, it's like it's not present. And so we spend our time in this, what we call, humanity experience, with love's presence being blocked. And we don't have an awareness of it. And so what we have an awareness of is what is in the limitation of time and space. What we are aware of is the contents of our experience and our activities. What we become so aware of and focused on is what? Our sensations, our emotions, our that which comes, that which goes. We become so caught up into a relationship. We get so caught up in the limitation of time. We get so caught up in the limitation and identification of this form we call a body. It's almost like we're trapped. And that trap becomes a block to the awareness of love's presence. And so if love's presence is not in our awareness, then there is no joy, there's no peace, there's no happiness. There's no real extension, no real creativity. So that's why, over here it says, it's the largest single step this course requires in our advancement towards the goal. So if we are going to have the direct experience of a renewed mind, if we are going to have a thought system that aligns with love's presence, if we're going to perceive love's presence, if we're going to comprehend love's presence, if we're going to have the awareness of love's presence, then the blocks have to be removed. The blocks have to be removed. So this process that we're going through in each one of these workbook lessons is a process of undoing or removing the blocks to the awareness that love is present. And not that it is present as something that is separate, and apart from us, but love is who and what we are. That's why it's always present. That God is who and what we are. That's why God is always present. That's why life is always present. That love and life and God is our only reality. And it's always present. Always present. And so removing the blocks is something that we get involved with. Within the limitation, the seeming limitation, because there is no limitation. What and who we are is part of this vast, unimaginable, this infinite awareness of consciousness. That's what we are part of. We are part of this borderless, universal love, beauty, infinite intelligence, eternity that is changeless. That's what we are part of. That's what we are. That's what has covered up. That's what has been obscured from our experience. And now we embark upon the remembrance of that as we go through these workbook lessons. So it says this course does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance. That's the aim. It says the opposite of love is fear. But what is all encompassing? What is all encompassing? Love is. Meaning love is everywhere. There's nowhere it is. So if love is all encompassing, there's no place for fear. It says so. But what is all encompassing can have no fear. So love has no, can have no, can have. We said what is all encompassing can have no opposite. So love has no opposite. There is no fear. There's nothing to fear. Here's an illusion. Everything that is not of love is an illusion. It's a tiny mad idea. It doesn't mean anything. It's a meaningless nothingness. But we make it meaningful in somethingness by falling asleep and by placing blocks to the awareness that love is everywhere and love is everything. And so today, again, we take the largest single step. Hear me now. We take the largest single step. This is a huge statement here. This course requests in our advancement towards our established goals. So let's dig into this. Let's focus in. Let's see the importance of this message, the importance of this lesson, this idea, this truth, this reality. There is no love but God. Perhaps we think that different kinds of love are possible. That this kind of love, that kind of love, in the world they teach you, whether that's phileo love, there's agape love, there's love you have towards a thing, there's a love you have towards an animal, there's a love you have towards an individual, there's an intimate love, there's a friendship love. That's the way the world teaches. Like there's multiple loves, different levels of love. But here it says, perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this and a kind of love for that. And that's what the world teaches us. Even in the spiritual community, they teach you that this is the kind of love. This is phileo love. This is agape love. This is philemon. They got different levels of love. This kind of love and that kind of love. If you look in the Webster Dictionary, there's many different renderings of what love is. And remember, over in the introduction, it says love cannot be taught. It's something that can't be taught. Why? What is all encompassing? How can you teach it? It says here, but it says perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this and a kind of love for that. A way of loving one and another way of loving still another. That we can love one way in this moment, love another way in another moment. I love this person one way, love that person another way. It says love is one. And listen now, we have to embrace this reality. This is the foundation for our mind being transformed. This is the foundation for us being transformed. This is the foundation for our thought reversal. Love is one. Love is always one. It has no separate parts and no degrees. There are no different parts to love. It's not broken into many pieces of many assets, of many facets. It is one. This is that simple. Love is very simple. Love is one. It says it has no degrees. There's not degrees of love. You build up to it. It's not a progression. It just is. Either there's love or there's not. And we've already heard that love has no opposite. So love is all there is. We have to embrace love is one. Love is all there is, the one love. Not many loves. Not a love for this and a love for that, but I don't love this, I don't love that. That's the way of the world. Love this country, this nation, this people. Don't love these people. We see these people as a threat, this people as a threat. That's what the world teaches us, to keep us from that. And those are the blocks that continue to blind us to the awareness of love presence. And we're here to now remove those blocks, to remove the scales from our eyes, to unveil what's already present. Like when you undress at night, what was always there? Your naked body. It was always there, but it's unveiled when we unclothe. Likewise, when we remove the blocks to the awareness of love presence, all there is love presence, and it was always there. So it says love has no separate parts nor degrees. It has no kinds nor levels, no divergency, and no distinctions. Love it merely is. Love is one. This is the God kind of love. This is not the love that the ego teaches or the world teaches, or the love that we see on display in the different communities, the religious communities, the love we see on display in the arts community, in the theater, in the movies, even in our own homes, in our personal lives, the love that we've been practicing. That loving in one moment, hating in the next. Loving in one moment, fearful in the next. In the New Testament, it says what? Love casteth out all fear. In other words, fear has no place or no room where love is, and love is everywhere. So when we're in fear, we're in a state of illusion. We're in a delusional state, or an illusion in our way of thinking and perceiving, because all that is present is love. But we're making a choice based on a belief within ourselves in separation, based on the belief that love is not one, based on the belief that God has been broken into pieces, based on the belief that God is not love. In other words, we made of God an unloving Father in our own image and in our own likeness, versus God created us in love because God is love. So this whole backwards, this whole inside out, outside in, it's like all of reality have been pulled apart, and it's impossible for that to happen. So we would have to be dreaming, we would have to be in vain imagining, we would have to be in a delusional or in a state of illusion, we would have to be hallucinating to think that love can be broken apart, that love has different levels, that love can be one way and another, that love has degrees, that love has levels, that love have divergencies, and that love have distinction. That it can be one way in one moment, another way in another. It can be one way for one person, another way for another person. All that is designed to keep the blocks, the blinders, the veil over our vision, over our mind, so that what we are experiencing, and what appears, is the opposite of what is reality. And remember, in love, there are no opposites. So we would have to be in a state of mind that is not real. Now you're seeing why it said that this is the single most step this course requires for us to advance. We have to accept the oneness of love, the oneness of God. We have to accept ourselves as a part of that oneness, as a part of that unaltering, unchanging awareness of love's presence. It is like itself. It is like itself. Love is like itself, unchanged throughout. Love never changes. Love cannot be altered. Love is not fickle. God is not fickle. God is not like the world. God is not like the ego. God is not separate. God is all encompassing. God is all inclusive. God knows no differences. It knows no race, no gender. Paul picked it up when he says, let me find that. Paul picked it up when he talked about being in Christ, or being in love. Love is synonymous to Christ. It's talking that all this is a theme of oneness. And it's over here in Galatians, I think Galatians chapter 3. Galatians chapter 3, verse 28 and 29. Paul picked up on this when he says, let me see if I can get the whole thing. Okay. Let me see 27. It says, there is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. Ye are all one in love. And so he makes a distinction here that there are no distinctions. There are no differences in love. There's no bond nor free. There's no Jew nor Greek. Jew nor Greek refers to what? Nationality. There is no nationality in Christ. There is no one country in different countries in different nationality. In love, in God, there doesn't exist. These are man-made ideas, these differences. It says there is neither bond nor free. There's not a slave. There's not a slave. There's not a free. There's just what it just is. It says there is neither male nor female. Speaking to what? The form. Okay? Speaking to the form. Speaking to the status. Speaking to the nationality. He said, but ye are all one in Christ. Christ represents love. We are all one in love. And so this theme of oneness, this theme that love is, and it always has been and always will be, and that is who we are, that is what we are, that's our natural inheritance. That's what we must come to grips with in this process of renewing our minds. There are no differences. The differences that we see, the differences that we've been taught, the differences that we've been conditioned to filter our perception through,